Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops Money Talks Edition. Welcome Jay, welcome Ellie, Taylor, Jeff. Appreciate you being able to make it today, and happy birthday, Taylor.
Thank you.
The way I remember Taylor's birthday is it's Groundhog Day.
Easiest way to remember it.
So how are you gentlemen doing
today?
Remember
when Groundhog Day is.
What's that?
That just shifts the problem. Then I got to remember when Groundhog Day is.
Well, you're going to hear about it because Puxatani Phil, if he sees his shadow or not, it's always going to be in the news. It's that feel good news.
That's true. I think he saw a shadow. Didn't he see his shadow?
I don't know. Taylor,
I don't know.
Did you see your shadow? Did Taylor see his shadow?
I didn't see anything. I got up at 4 this morning, so I didn't see jack shit.
All right.
Stumbled in here.
He stumbled in here. I actually got up at 4 this morning as well. I usually get up at 5, but for whatever reason, I woke up at 4.
You know, we're I was gonna ask, considering what happened with crypto over the weekend, for you guys to enlighten me as to maybe it was just the weekend, but this last week. When did it start taking this most recent tumble? I only noticed
it started about 2 weeks ago, where it really started to take its kind of downturn. Really, like, I mean, this is just the normal pattern for Bitcoin. Bitcoin usually it's going to go, if it follows the pattern, it's going to go down till October. It's going to bounce around and slowly depreciate until October, and then if it follows the pattern that it normally follows.
Well, I know that 74K is a line of support, and if we were just talking about this in the last show with David, he's very, very smart dude, as you both know. He went over the charts and was saying that if we lose 74K and that line of support flips to resistance, we could go much lower. So definitely be ready for that. If you want to have some dry powder on the side, or make sure you take that into account if you're getting into your DeFi positions and doing range positions and things like that. Because again, if we lose 74K, we could go much lower.
All right. Speaking of going much lower, holy shit! You realize silver was at 109 on the 28th.
Yeah,
it got up to $121.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about the ETF closing price. Yeah, no, I realize intraday it spiked up even.
Nobody cares about your paper silver, Jeff.
Well, hey, you know what? Here's a perfect example though why paper silver can be better. I had a client.
It's much more liquid,
right? And she's like, she's a retiree, and she has a decent sized holding in it from stuff that her husband had built before he passed. And, from her perspective, silver's gone up. I mean, if you take that price last week, it's tripled in the last year or year and a half, something like that. Made a huge difference. Where she's like, I don't know where to go to sell it. And I kind of gave her a couple of ideas, just as like, well, here's what you should Google. And I mean, I'm like, I can't sell it for her. I can't take in physical bullion. Right. So.
Oh, I know where she should sell it, Jeff.
Me.
Well, send it. But I mean, she was interested, right? And then
there's a good auction place that gets you more than that. It sells at a premium. I've watched it, and pretty much everybody that goes on there sells.
So basically, it's you get over spot. Another thing you can do is go on eBay. I've seen people do it quite a bit. You can go on eBay and ask more than. If it's in high demand and the supply is super low, like it was, you can go on eBay, and if it's going for $120 an ounce, you can sell an ounce for like 130, 140, depending on, how the demand is. Cause people are just,
how do you guarantee you're going to get paid though, before you ship your gold off to somebody through the mail, or your silver off to somebody through the mail?
Just like you would anything, you get paid on eBay, it shows up, and, it's, goes into your account, and you send it off. And as long as everything goes, then, you get paid. eBay acts as an escrow, basically.
So, but I'll tell you what happened with silver.
It really mattered. And this lady is now what? I mean, not that she's still higher than she was a month ago, but she's $30, $40 an ounce less than she was a week ago. And she had no, no ability as an elder lady to quickly move this. And I think that's something that people don't think about sometimes.
So
Well,
let me
look.
explain exactly what happened with silver on Friday.
All right.
Okay. Silver was shorted the shit out by the banks. They crashed the price intentionally because what is Friday into the month?
Sure.
Option expiration date. And if they didn't crash that price, they would have lost trillions.
Oh, yeah.
It was 100% market manipulation.
Mhm.
Everybody's like, oh, it's who Trump picked as he wants as his Fed chair. I mean, I
it's
got
much
on,
simpler than that.
I mean, it shows you the coordinated media is just the puppets of the powers that be, because they all stated that that was the reason. No, you can see what was happening, because you can go online right now and try to see if you can buy silver at that price, actual physical silver.
Most places won't sell it.
Yeah, they're out of stock. They'll say,
Yep.
"Oh, well, we don't sell it that price. You can't buy it at that price." The premium is still significantly higher than what is online for the paper cost. It was 100% market manipulation. They did this in 1980. I'm interested to see, is it going to work? Because the biggest problem, if we're going to continue to do this, because what's happening right now, and I think they actually had to put a stop to it, and that's why China currently is not allowing any silver to leave their country, is because China was just buying up silver in the U.S., the paper price, and saying, ship it to us. And then finally they came back, and I think it was back in November, and said, well, we can't. And so then China said, fine, then we're not going to let silver leave our country. So we have this
right now, silver is at $78.43, and I'm on eBay, and the cheapest I'm seeing it is about $91.
See.
But go ahead, Taylor. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just wanted to put that out there.
JM Bullion, you cannot buy. They are out due to high demand. We cannot process this and they want $85 right now for that. But even though it says they have it in stock, they won't sell it to you for that price.
Interesting.
It looks like the cheapest one that I can get. Nope, they're out there. That one's $98 and they're out of it.
Scottsdale Mint is saying that they have it in stock, but it's selling for the cheapest 1 ounce bar that they have. And usually bars and rounds are your best bet, is $90.
So, okay. So they're saying 90 is what they will actually, can you actually get it though? Or does it, because
I'm hitting buy now to see what they say.
Because I'm on here on JM Bullion, and they're saying, hey, you click on it, it says, oh yeah, we have it available, and then you can't buy it.
I probably shouldn't tell people about Scottsdale Mint. It's where I've always bought mine. And when JM Bullion and all them, whenever they're acting up like that, usually Scottsdale is like, it's where I bought during that dip during COVID, and ended up getting most of my silver for $12 an ounce. So, when everybody was panic buying, and it was one of the few places I could find to buy it, and they've been my go-to ever since.
Well, they actually let you buy it at that price?
Yeah, I just typed it in. It's $93.82 with the premium, but yeah, I can check out.
Okay, so that's the price if you want silver, is actually $93, not $78 that online is saying.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, that when you have an asset that's actually needed, and then our financial markets are going to fuck around with it, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about the Epstein file dump with Bitcoin, what Jeffrey Epstein says.
Oh, jump into it, man. Let's get spicy. What's up?
Wait, before we do that, just as a recap, y'all realize that it wasn't even technically a month ago when we invaded, or maybe not invaded, but president snatched the guy out of Venezuela. Like, that's how crazy the last 30 days have been. Venezuela, the whole Greenland debacle, the Minnesota riots, Alex Preddy, Renee Good, and Epstein file dump. Tulsi Gabbard has this there's a massive conspiracy thing going on there potentially. There's the whole thing with Saudi Arabia spy chief buying into Trump. I mean, it is just last week, the last 3 days of last week was insane.
Like, I'm telling you, we need to get our doomsday community together.
Telling you, man. All right, so go, Taylor.
Let me pull this up here, and I need to share my screen, I guess. All righty. Okay, let's go like this. That's the share screen button, right?
Oh, yeah. Let me actually, let's do this.
I'll share screen. Let's see if this works.
There we go. Let me add a new scene. Media presentation. Oh, here, we'll just do this.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and share your screen and I'll put it up.
Okay, where the hell is that thing? My goodness, I want this. This is what I want right there. Okay, and I'll do this entire screen here, right here, and share that.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, it's our newsletter.
Not the newsletter.
The DeFi Wise newsletter.
Well, we have some like articles in here. So like these Epstein file leaks talking about, did you read these with Michael Saylor?
Yeah.
Well, at least we know Michael Saylor's a good guy. They hated him. They just said like he didn't have any personality or whatever thing, but this Rafat, this dude claims that he's spoken to the founders of Bitcoin.
Right? Oh yeah, I was reading through that this morning when I was putting the newsletter together.
So this got me all interested, going, okay, well, the white papers, and I was like, well, AI should be able to identify who they think or who wrote the white papers for Bitcoin. And so I put it into deep research on chat and said, well, who wrote the white papers? And they claim it's this guy. It said with his writing, and it narrowed it down based on line of people who think, and Nick Szabo, and he was involved in the different things. But I guess he's involved with Bitgold, and then what's the current one that he's running? But according to chat's analysis, if you look at writing, the technical analysis and everything, this is one of the guys. Now it went through a bunch of different things and said it's a group of people. Definitely, it's not just one, but he's the one that wrote the white papers, according to chat. And I guess some other, I went through some different things on it to find out, and these other people.
And it's just going based off the writing style.
Yeah, it's saying so. It pulled up like let's see. So it went through these different people in its analysis and said, this guy, the verdict is Szabo, highly probable for the writing of the white papers. Just as analysis and different things like that of some syntax he uses in different things. These are some other people that people have claimed, like Hal Finney. These are all people that were involved with kind of like this idea before. So Nick has been, a lot of people, of course, have picked up on this. And so,
and there's been a rumor going around for a while that, Epstein was involved with the creation of Bitcoin. And, I know that some of the articles that came out this morning with supposedly with the Epstein dump, I haven't done any research yet. So please don't take this as news or anything. This is just something that I need to research. But supposedly there was emails back and forth, where Epstein was communicating with the founders of Bitcoin, and so I have you like dived into that at all?
Some kind of MIT connection where
Yeah, like he went up to MIT to meet with them, or Harvard or something like that. And so, I mean, have either of you like actually dipped into that? And is that factual at all, or is that just more,
Well,
guesstimation?
I would put this. So I went through a lot of the different. I got obsessed with it over the weekend with the file dump, and he was literally involved in everything. I mean, he was involved in something referring to bio effects on time, or biological effects to humans on time travel.
What the fuck?
I know, it's like, what the fuck does that mean? But has an email back and forth to this Harvard professor about, what are these effects of that? And I mean, he had access to billions of dollars. Of course, it's very clear now who Epstein was. He definitely worked for intelligence communities, and he was the blackmail. I mean, he was kind of a
Did you
central
see
figure.
the new stuff though that says he might have been bankrolled not just by Israel but by the KGB?
Oh, I think he was by all intelligence, the CIA.
Yeah. Well, I think it was his dad or Maxine's dad was pretty high up in the Mossad, which is
Maxine's dad.
Yeah, and there's a long history of Mossad using, and this is all factual, basically using blackmail, getting dirt on, individuals to where they can make them do what they want. Find somebody in a high level position, get some compromising information, and you can basically get them to do whatever you want. And the more you get them to do, the more compromised they are, the more that, they have to lose. So,
So there's a great book to read. It's called One Nation Under Blackmail. Mm-hmm. Whitney Webb wrote the book, got me kind of interested in digging back through kind of what's really going on. What is this system? And so she talks about in her book about these they were Jewish family, but they were really Italian families that were involved a lot back in the 1500s. She doesn't really talk very much about it. She just mentions it. So I got a little obsessed with it. And basically what it is back in the 1500s when global trade kind of started, these individuals that were involved in setting up global trade ran into a big problem. And that is, you showed up at these other cultures and you were trying to establish trade with them. Often the local, ruler stole your stuff.
Yeah.
And so there was
a tax. There was a tax.
And so people who are in the elite and kind of established have developed over the years systems to controlling powerful people. And blackmail, of course, is one of the easiest and most effective way to control people. Because often when you run into someone who's very powerful or a family that's ruled an area for a long time is,
the reason is twofold. You're attacking somebody on two fronts. You're attacking them on their, profitability or, wealth, and also their ego. So if something is exposed, then it could potentially shine a negative light on them, so that their ego comes into play. And of course, you can attack them as far as their profitability. So money wise, either through them losing money, or that you can attack them on the front of where you're incentivizing them. So it's all about figuring out who it is that you're trying to manipulate. And
so what happened is, as they went around the world and they dealt with this, they had to figure out cultures and what is taboo in those cultures.
Yep.
And then once you figured out what that was, you needed evidence or some way to leverage them.
And what is, all around Epstein and Maxine that's taboo and that, can be used against people of power, and who are all the people they were catering to?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to paint a picture here, and, so you understand what Taylor's getting at.
Yeah. So sexual blackmail is, Whitney Webb talks about it extensively. That's what is used to, especially in American culture, because certain sexual things are, very taboo, especially. So like J. Edgar Hoover, she talks about how they had obtained, he was, I guess, homosexual at the time. And so they had obtained footage of him with gay sex, and they used that to control him. And who I mean is the CIA, because, they wanted to be in control of what he was going to go after. And it's how effectively the intelligence community has, gotten control of the FBI, the Department of Justice, and different organizations. And so they just don't go prosecute things. And basically what is going on, Diddy was probably running that operation out of Hollywood. They were using him to get that on famous people, because the things that you want to control is you got to control the media. You got to control the narrative, because that's the problem that this group of people are having today, is podcasts like this, they can't control. And so the internet's become a problem for them. But before, they could easily control the media. And so as long as you controlled the media, the narrative, you controlled the Hollywood elites, because you have to control the famous people of a culture.
Most people, if they hear something enough, from multiple places, they just assume that it's true.
Yeah. And so
they also become numb to it, right? Because it depends on your biases. So I think one of the things that I think something that Trump does do really, really well. I don't know if I think it's his personality trait. I don't think he did it really on purpose. But honestly, I'm wondering how effective blackmail is going to be in 20 or 30 years, because, I mean, for 10 years, no matter what the situation is, if there's anything that's against his position, what's he say? He says fake news, right?
Yeah.
Now we're in a world where, if I can type a couple of sentences into an image generator and have a picture of Taylor wearing a, Chi banana dress and taking, yeah, exactly.
Have something like that show up in your office when you show up to
right?
Taking a dump on a Cadillac in a parking lot, right? I mean, I can't.
Oh, I have that already, and it's not AI generated.
That's my point, though. But I guess what I'm getting at is, if you
it's AI,
where AI
fake news,
you just go, yeah, that's not real, and you just move on, right? I wonder. It's just a weird world where we've gotten so far with evidence now, or with technology, that you can look at actual evidence and completely dismiss it if your bias is to dismiss it. I've actually taken a little bit of advice from the two of you, and I've decreased my Twitter usage in the last week, because I cannot get past, on either side, people being like, look what Clinton did. And I'm like, wait, so Clinton's in the Epstein files, which he is, right? And the tips and stuff that's been released.
Yeah.
And Trump is. I'm like, either you have to give both equal credence or neither.
So
now,
Jeff,
here you can give neither. You could say, I don't believe that Clinton did that. I don't believe that Trump did that. And in the real world, they might have both done it, right?
Yeah.
So Jeff,
and it just drives me nuts, because
Jeff, Bill Clinton is in the Epstein files, and there's allegations that he ate children.
I understand that. I understand that he's in. That's what I'm saying, though. But you can't tell me. There are people literally that are posting about how it's all a hoax on the Democratic side, except for when it's about Bill Clinton, in which case he needs to testify in front of Congress and be arrested and put in jail. Well, which one is it? Is it you believe the shit coming out, or you don't believe the shit coming out? Because it's not like one of them sourced and one of them isn't. They're all half redacted and tips.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just we've gotten to this post fact world, man.
But that's the problem with belief systems, which include politics. When people ascribe to a belief system, so you attach yourself to some identity, some group identity, the problem happens is it interferes with your ability to be objective in any way. And you will discard any information. I actually watched this. It was great. This guy he interviews like elderly people that are very politically motivated. Usually they're elderly people. The most of the videos I saw, and he just reads to them these affidavits that these victims have submitted to law enforcement. And you watch these people struggle so much. And like, he was reading an affidavit of where, Donald Trump is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. And it was, you could watch this lady do everything she could in her mind to not want to believe it. And it's hard, because it's like what eventually happens to these people is, once enough things come out and you hear it from enough different sources, especially someone they trust finally tells them something, it collapses and you see this giant swing. Yeah. And so, like, of course, religious beliefs are in those categories. Like, I used to be really religious, and that's why I'm very understanding to people who are stuck in these belief systems, because I was in one and I was caught up in it and I just could not see around it. Like, you would have blatantly obvious things that were contradictory, that make no sense, but your mind just can't, it refuses to go there. And it's, because it's attached to your ego.
Well, and a lot of those things, it's like, you can't be told those things. You have to discover those inconsistencies and those contradictions on your own, because all of us are guilty of it. We get in that headspace and we get in that confirmation bias and we get in those echo chambers, like religion, like Taylor's talking about, and you're hearing the same things. And it's the same thing as the media, like Jeff was talking about. You're hearing multiple people that you respect, and that you look up to. And if it's the media, if it's a politician, if it's somebody in Hollywood, if it's a church leader, it's your peers, your family, whoever it is, and you keep hearing the same things from multiple places, in your mind, you automatically think it. The more places you hear it, and the more it's parroted, it must be true. And so it really is hard, like Taylor's talking about, to break out of that mindset. And we all really, and I'll get on a soapbox a little bit, we all really need to be super critical, especially in this day and age with AI. We need to be instantly critical of anything that comes out. And not to say that it's not true. Like all this stuff that we're talking about with the Epstein files. Not to say that it's not true, but we got to pump the brakes. Yeah. And we have to make sure that we're, seeking out, actual facts to back this stuff up before we allow it to get ingrained in our mind.
And let's walk through how it's done. How are you sucked in, and how do you become basically captivated by a belief system? The key thing is they have to get you to identify with it. That is the key structure. I am a Republican. I am a Democrat. I am a Catholic. I am a Mormon. I am that. Once you start identifying your own identity as those things, they then can control you in the way that you think. And so, a very common way is to get you to wear clothing that identifies with that.
Secret underwear.
Secret underwear.
I am a troll.
A little hat on your head, or you're a sports team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are a troll. Whoever knows.
DCA and Prey has a reputation of always taking a contrary view. He's always in the chats. Like when people are very bullish, he's always very bearish.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a wise way to be.
No, it is. It is.
So like, but anything could be taken to an extreme. But like sports teams do this to you. They get you to wear,
their branding.
Yeah. Like, and you'll say things like, "We won." You didn't play. You didn't win anything.
You sat on the couch eating chicken wings and drinking beer. You didn't do shit.
Yeah. But that's how, that's why, like, I used to be really big into the San Francisco 49ers. Like when I was young, I was like, I'd watch every game. I would be pissed off when they would lose, and, I had to disassociate myself with football, all NFL, because I was like, this is crazy. Like, why is this, random?
Why do you take it so personally?
Exactly. I'm taking it personal because they lost the game. Who cares? It's like, but it's amazing how once they, any type of these, their belief structures or communities, but they're anything that they can tie to your ego. So you have to be very careful when you're using phrases like that. I am this, I'm a fan, of this team or something, because as that happens, then you can be controlled, and it can control your emotions. It can control whether you're happy or sad. It can suck your money out of your pocket because you're throwing all your money towards these things. Now, of course, there's harmful things and there's less harmful things. But what's really become the problem are the Republican and Democratic parties. They now control our population. Either they get you to identify, or they get you to not identify with the other party. Well, I'm not a liberal. Therefore, well, you have to vote for the Republican then, like, because you're not that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And so it's, instead of like, really the big problem right now, because it's clear from the Epstein files, I really feel like a complete idiot, because like I didn't really think it was that bad at the highest level. I thought there's some bad players, but it's really not that bad. But I mean, reading victim reports that basically say the same thing of people who don't know each other, it's pretty obvious after the third or fourth, child, victim claiming these things happened. This is what happened at this location or on this yacht. And it's basically the same thing over and over and over again. Eventually you have to go, okay, all these victims aren't lying. And so, I'm attached to this country. I consider myself an American. I don't want to believe my government elites take children and rape them and then cover it up for these people.
Mm-hmm.
But after this weekend, it was pretty obvious that's what's going on, is our own government is allowing this to happen, and they will not go after certain people if you have a certain political class.
Well, let's go down this road. It's, I have thought for a while that our government is just broken beyond repair, and it's just a matter of time. So what can we do as Americans, right, left, middle, Democrat, Republican? I mean, anybody that's, has two brain cells to rub together and is sane still. And there's a lot of people that aren't out there. We see that, the country is run by corrupt pedophiles. How do we fix this?
We do not vote Democrat or Republican. We have to, no matter what happens. I don't even care if it's a Green Party member. I am voting for a third party.
I think I'm going to do the same. I like that.
Agreed. And here's why, because if people say it's a waste of your vote, it may be any given election cycle. And Taylor, you may know the law, but there is some kind of national, there's a regulation or an election law that states something like, if you get 5% of the national vote, maybe it's in the primaries or something like that, you have to be on the debate stage for the main things, like back when Ross Perot did it, right? And what I think is so important about that is we have gotten to a point in this country where Donald Trump could cure cancer and the left would be against it. The left could literally be like, we want to cut taxes and cut spending, and the right would be like, this is a hoax, right? We've gotten, because now it's about who your enemy is, not what policy is. And so if we had a third party in there that could say something, an idea or a rebuttal or whatever, where you didn't have an immediate visceral response of, well, that's a bad idea because who said it, you would force the left and the right to start actually articulating ideas or objections that were not simply based on, well, I hate you because I'm a Cowboys fan and you're a Phillies fan, an Eagles fan, which is completely fair, by the way. Everybody should hate the Eagles, but you get Also, secondly, which I think is much sadder, and somebody said this in the comments. It was Big Lou just had this conversation with our wife. What happened? His wife. What happened? Independent thinking. This is a massive societal issue, right? But I really think, like when I was raised kind of moderate Republican was sort of my household, right? My mom was more liberal, my dad was more conservative, but they didn't say I am Republican. They voted Republican more often than not, but they didn't, it wasn't this. And matter of fact, the big knock on the left at the time that the right would talk about all the time was identity politics and how the left had become this way in a lot of ways, right? I am a liberal. I am a Democrat. And I think as we continue to move forward, what's happened is by generation, like our grandparents' generation. So my grandfather, my oldest grandfather, I'm 49. My grandfather was born in 1920. I mean, he's no longer with us, but so I think that generation, one, they had the massive community building of both the suffering of the Great Depression and then going through World War II. But, they were from their communities. There wasn't these black boxes of narcissistic mirrors. There wasn't, this mass entertainment that's sort of numbing you. And I think each generation, we have gone away from a closer community of individuals to more corporate community via internet, via YouTube, via social media, via shows and movies. And so we've watered down what community is. And I think it's so primal to human beings. So we're so tribal in our makeup that if we don't have community that's really sustainable and deep, we will seek that out. And so I'm telling you, I'm really not trying to pick on the average MAGA guy right now or MAGA girl, but we would all agree that the rally, if you think about the political rallies the last 10 years during campaigns, nobody thinks about the Democratic rallies. I mean, they were a little bit frou-frou, a couple of them, but I mean, like you think about, man, people would wait out all night and day to get into these things. I mean, like the community around it, right? You put a red hat on and you belong kind of thing. And I think that touched something really deeply inside of people. And it shows how desperate we are for significance and community. And the sad thing is, left or right, the people that are taking advantage of it now are just using the populace, right?
So one of the crazy things that was in the Epstein file release is that Jeffrey Epstein might have been one of the creators of the alt-right movement. And it was basically the day he spoke with 4chan was the day they started, I think it's called POL group on 4chan. I was never on 4chan, so I don't know what it is. Apparently it's the group that went kind of mobilized behind Donald Trump and went and pushed Donald Trump in the 2016 election and really was his like ground. And it's crazy to think how these people really understand the populace. They put Donald Trump out there as the voice because most people that I know that are diehard Trump fans are because of pedophilia, because they believe he's going to stop the deep state. And they believe, Alex Jones, shout out to Alex Jones. I made fun of you all those years, but it looks like you were telling the truth. But they were watching Alex Jones. They were all behind this. And then to come and flip around that they picked the man that, in some of these things, like one victim said, they didn't think Jeffrey Epstein was in charge. They thought it was Donald Trump that was in charge. And to put that out there as that's how bold they are in what they're doing now. They are so confident that we as a population will not figure this out. And so, I have to admit, like I've been naive to all of it. I've just assumed these things for many years. I mean, I was naive about it, I'd say. And then COVID was I think it was most people's big shock of going, the media is just flat out lying. Like,
well, how about this? I mean, Big Lou's asking a good question. I mean, with as deep as, kind of the corruption and, you see the, all the scandals with, elections and the fraud and, a lot of our tax dollars getting, siphoned off to pay for all these different groups that, try to manipulate elections and, just everything that's going on. I mean, what do you two think? I mean, do we think that presidents are elected or are they just selected?
Well, we have an electoral college they're selected through the electoral college, but the way that they've designed it to get up to have these primaries you have to have so much money to just get on everywhere that the only way that you're getting there is if you're being financially backed. Well, the regular people cannot financially back. Let's say we found somebody that we really liked and everybody believed in, those guys that generate that just can't get the money or infrastructure. Because what is it? How much was spent on the last election, Jeff?
I have
with $1 billion.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll find out.
I know Harris had like over $1 billion in her war chest.
Yeah. And it's just like what in the world is going on? And you got to think we all see it. It's like Harris and Trump are our two best options.
That's what bugged me about the whole thing is out of everybody out there,
$5.5 billion was spent just on the presidential election for last 2024.
Yeah.
1.9 billion was dark money groups, nonprofits, and shell companies that spend on elections without revealing their donors.
Actually, this is a valid point about the Electoral College, because if they're just delegates. They're basically like, I was elected as a delegate in Utah for the Republican Party, and all they are is people that get elected by the party to represent their constituents. And so, I mean, they can be manipulated. They can be blackmailed. They can be, going back to what we were talking about before, they can be compromised. As soon as I won, I didn't even know that I didn't put my name in. I was written in by a bunch of people. And I started getting phone calls from politicians asking, if they could take me out to dinner or out to lunch and, discuss their platform and stuff like that. And I'm sure, and that was just, the tip of the iceberg, because I never went. But if I started doing that, during those discussions, at what point would they be like, hey, can I count on your support? And, hey, I happen to have these tickets to this game, or, it's a slippery slope. So, no system is perfect.
This morning I saw MTG talking about this, and she was like, AOC was elected to be this outsider going to come in and going to tear it up, but she's now mainstream is relative, move mainstream to the left, right? Bernie Sanders, as soon as Hillary, once he stopped running for office and threw his support behind Hillary, Obama, when you go back, her point is, and I can't believe I'm quoting Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she's like, you have to serve the industries and the donors that get you there and will keep you there, or you don't get to get reelected. And I think that's where it's very naive when people are like, we don't have term limits. Term limits are voting. Well, yeah, but if you have, I think it's what you have to serve. I think it's more than once. I think you have to serve twice to get the federal pension, right? To me, it should be longer terms, one time, learn what the hell you're doing, and you're out, and you never get to get reelected again. Well, I don't care if we pay you like a fucking king, but I want you to be. I mean, even though I think it's been proven patently false with how much money he's raked in being president in the first 12 months of his second term.
Yeah.
But an argument, and a pretty compelling argument for the Donald Trump candidacy was can't be bought, right?
Yeah.
I'm a billionaire. And I think we need to restructure things very much so that you get rid of that. Well, you don't get rid of it, but you minimize just how deep that influence really is. I mean, it's amazing to me what Congress, there was a lady, I think it was a lady, like a week ago came out. She was supposed to notify that she bought a position. She bought a position worth like $500,000 because if she got insider information, which is not illegal if you're on the committees, and acted on it. And her penalty for not reporting in a timely manner was $200. If I do that, fuck it. Martha Stewart did that for much less money and went to jail
for years.
Right? If I do that, I'm ruined. I fines, I go to jail. And it's just, it just seems so obvious some of these changes we need to make. But the problem is the people that can affect the change are the ones benefiting from it not being changed. And so how do you get past that? That's how revolutions start, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Maybe what we just need to do is all of us just need to get together and pick someone and just get every podcast person that's a decent human being and say,
to promote them.
Yeah. Somebody that doesn't want to be president. We have to just say, you're going to be our man. And
honestly, I had the idea, and I've had it for a while, where treat it like a lottery. There's a pool of people, that go in. You have to take a test. You have to have a basic understanding of how government works, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all that stuff. And you go into a lottery, and somebody is pulled from that lottery. And you might be a senator, you might be a congressman, you might be a president. And basically,
I kind of love this idea, except for I think everybody would be like, sure, but it's really rigged. But if it wasn't rigged, it'd be a great idea.
And I think that they should use blockchain technology to where it can, it's immutable, it's, trustless, you can audit it, and basically it's just, make it to where it's random. We might have somebody who's a plumber. We might have somebody who's a secretary. We might have somebody who's a nurse. You never know who the people are going to be, but at least they understand the struggles that citizens are going through. They understand what it means to pinch pennies to keep food on the table, balance it, to balance a checkbook, or, that's an old term, but, people that used to, float checks, to
Look
get to
what
the
DCA just typed.
What's that?
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah. Dwayne Alonso, Mountain Dew Camacho. Absolutely. Well, the thing is if it's a lottery, actually the way that we come up, we get that president is kind of how we got Trump is, you get somebody that's larger than life and they get, enough hype and, stuff like that. And they get elected. That's how you end up with President Camacho. And those that don't know, go watch Idiocracy and you'll laugh your ass off. It starts off as a comedy and ends as a documentary. But my point being is that with basically a lottery, it would be picked at random. And so again, it might be an MIT professor. It might be a plumber. It might be a janitor. It could be anybody. And I think that we would have a lot better results that way, because you would have a cross section of what America is, all different, economic levels, races, religions, genders, whatever. You would have a much, a greater sampling of the population, and maybe less would get done. But that's kind of the beauty of the way our government's set up, is it's not super efficient. If it was too efficient, then all kinds of bullshit would get rifled through. You need that friction to, slow down, slow things down. And there's so many things I would change if I was king for a day. Like even
I think this is a brilliant idea. And I think that, you make it 40 through 60.
Here you go.
Psychological test. You gotta at least have an average IQ, right?
Yep.
Or some kind of, and
you can't be Somali.
You have to be some level of basic competency, right? But otherwise, just let it represent. I mean, how cool would it be to have a guy? It's like, what did you do before this? It's like, oh, I installed mufflers, and now I run the free world.
Treat it like military service. The Soldier and Sailors Relief Act, where you serve your country for 2 years, 4 years, whatever, and when you're done, you go back to your same job. And any promotions you would have got during that time, they have to give you, anything like that. And I think it's then you would be a public servant. What we have now, they like to call themselves public servants. They are not. They're career politicians.
Mike, I'm going to write your name in now every single time.
Guys, I got to get somewhere by 1, so I'm gonna have to jet out real quick here. But
no worries, man.
This has been
Mike's the only person I know that could really give 2 shits about money or anything.
Yeah, you know me. It's like, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
He can never be bought.
That's true. I could be bribed just by good food. People be like, look.
Yeah. If you had a really good malt, you gave it to Jeff. Like, all right.
What do you think about this? Well, do you have a shake?
Yeah. Do you have a really good Oreo malt? And I could be persuaded. Well, all right. Yeah, no, we can cut this off. I actually wouldn't mind picking up this conversation, if you guys are available on Thursday for the red pill.
Is that Thursday night?
Yeah, Thursday
we
night.
have a dual seminar on Thursday, Taylor.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! All right.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh no, it's fine. I love.
Next week should work.
I love these conversations when they're calm, collected, logical, and you can bounce ideas. Because me and Jeff, like, I mean, if you watch our texts, you'd think that we hated each other sometimes. Yeah, because I mean, we go back and forth like brothers. We're just going. There's all kinds of friction there. But the thing is, I mean, but I love the guy to death, and I don't care what I care what his opinion is, but I don't care if it differs from my own.
Right. It's not going to affect our friendship.
No, not at all. We have to have differing opinions, and it's what I seek out. I love having differing opinions because it challenges everyone to question their way of thinking. Myself, other people, you always need to be open to new information, because as soon as you close yourself off, you stop learning. You stop growing as a person.
It's that proverb, right? Iron sharpens iron, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all right, Taylor.
Until next time.
All right, till next time. Veteran Crypto out.